In front of us, I would like to just have an item 2A or something to that effect. We have not acknowledged, I guess, that we are short one supervisor. We should probably have that in the minutes, and maybe a little update from Auditor Tesh.
Call it 1A then.
Or 1A, I suppose, yeah, we could call it 1A. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second. Been moved and second. Further discussion, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Item 1A, please note in the minutes that Supervisor Marreel resigned as of June 30th, I believe it was.
Correct.
And there is a seat open. Auditor Tesh, it is up to you and two others to make a
Recorder and the
decision.
treasurer, and we are meeting this afternoon and to determine if we have two options. One is we can seek out appointments from the 3rd District, or we can pass on that and just call for a special election.
Okay.
And that's in Code Section 69.14.
Okay, thank you for the update. Approve change order number 4 for tanks at pretreatment plant. Tom, you're up.
Okay. Change order 4 is basically what I'm gonna call a housekeeping change order. This copy for you to look at, Joel. What you guys wanna look at is the second page. It's got the breakdown. Alright, line item number 1, sales tax. Here's the deal, this part of the project was underway when the official word was that it was taxable. About 3-4 weeks ago, we got the official word that it's non-taxable. Well, at that point, the contractor had already paid $3,385.38 in taxes, okay? So the project was bid as a non-tax, knowing that we were going to change order in the taxes. And of course, the timing of the attorney's opinion wasn't primo, so we have a little bit of tax here. So what you do is we have to add in $33.85 and 38 cents of taxes, and Lowell's got this nice little tax statement right here that you can turn in and get all that stuff refunded right back to you guys. So it's kind of just a quick switch, okay? So Lowell, you'll want to file that so you can get a tax refund on that, okay?
Okay.
Line item number 2, they installed 209 cubic yards less than what was on the plan sheets, so we need to deduct that 50160. Line item number 3, they installed 6,273 plus tons less than what we had first anticipated, so we have to deduct to $72,149.62. They disposed, line number 4, they disposed of 1,121 cubic yards less than what we thought they were going to, so we have to deduct $1,289.15 from the contract amount. Because of some of the messes we had this spring, for them to finish up, we had to install a rock entrance. That's part of the stormwater pollution prevention plan. Last year we didn't have this issue because we didn't know what rain was last year. And that was not an item that was on the original bid form, so we had to add it. That was $1,588.77. Like I said, that's something we have to do. That's just part of managing stormwater control. Line item number 6, as I was finishing up the design on the main part of the treatment plant, we had to add another connection point to these tanks because it just, from a hydraulic standpoint, it just wasn't working out what I needed to do out there to move water around. So once the tanks were erected, I had to have them pull a panel off of it and install a nozzle on 3 of the tanks out there. So that added the $16,000. The bottom line is net change order for number 4, and that's a minus $52,640, not a plus. And if you look at your front page, you'll see that it's a minus. Net decreases change order, just kind of towards the bottom on the left-hand side, $52,640.02. So basically, the purpose of change order is subtract $52,640.02 off the project costs. these are the kind of change orders I like. Of course, I always wait until the end to have these kind, but that's the way it goes.
Well, I'd move that we accept this change order. There's a number on it, is there?
Number 4, yeah.
Number 4, yeah.
Left
Yep.
corner.
Change
Right.
order number 4.
Second, further discussion. Hearing none, Volklander.
Aye.
Walk, aye, motion carries.
All right, now, Mr. Walk, I need 3 signatures from you and a date in the center of all 3 of these, so I can take them back. You'll get your own copy.
Okay,
Once the contractor fully executes it, I'll get you guys a copy then for your records.
Final acceptance on May 30, that was, we done that.
This is final.
This is the final.
You did the final acceptance, yes. We had a resolution for that already. This is the final payment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we're done.
Okay.
I'll be back in 30 days, so we gotta do release change, but that's no big deal.
there we go.
Thank you, sir. Oh, next line item, okay. Here is your official copy, Lowell. There's a copy if you look at, and a copy if you look at. This is the final pay request for the process tanks. And what I want to point out is if you look at the big bold that says total contract amount with change orders, is $1,489,726.41, and then the very next line item, total contract items completed, is the exact same number. If we wouldn't have done that last change order, those 2 numbers wouldn't have been the same, and it makes everything look weird. So I just want to explain why we do this cleanup change order at the end of the project. So these guys are done. Again, the total project cost was $1,489,726.41. You guys are going to hang on to the $74,486.32 in retainage for 30 days or until they have all their bills paid up. The only bill that's outstanding is they owe the city money for water. Once I get a confirmation from the city that they paid that, or 30 days, whatever's later, I'll be back with you guys with another quick letter that'll say release the retainage. But until that point happens, you're going to hang on to that kind of money. So with this pay request, the contractor is due $92,451.42.
The American Structures.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve final payment certificate, $92,451.42.
Second, further discussion.
I got a bunch of
What's that?
lump sum.
Lump sum. Doing all the rest of them, so I don't run into trouble.
I'm gonna throw some of the colons on there next time.
Okay. Lump sum.
Okay, so like I said, I'll be
Oh,
back.
wait, haven't-
I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. I mean,
We're in
haven't voted on
discussion
it,
now.
but, that's all right. Volklander.
Aye.
Walk, aye, motion carries.
That's your copy. So we'll be back in 30 days, or whenever they pay the city bill to clean this up. Quick update on the rest of the project. Contracts and bonds got delivered to Henkel. They are due back to us on July 11th. They will be on your agenda for July 16th. I won't be here for that meeting. I'll be out of town that week, but I'll have somebody else that's probably not as good looking as I am take care of everything. And it should be straightforward, signing the contract and away we go. Waukesha is mobilizing this week and starting construction next week at the Osage wastewater plant. I'll have a better update for you next week on what's going on out there, but we're meeting with Dunley today. Unless you guys want to be there, we got to pick the colors out for the buildings and stuff, but that's about it. So. Unless you want hot pink, they're going to be brown and red. And that's it. Everything's moving ahead. We got the DNRs on board with everything. We're doing good.
Very good.
That's
Thank you, and have a good floor.
You guys too, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.
All right, take care, guys. See you next time.
Item 4,
Direct
county
gift.
attorney general discussion.
See you, Rich.
Those are your cement quotes?
They had enough guys already. I think that was Bob Muller's not here.
Right.
Next week, maybe?
Well, he wants to talk to his tax man, so I'm not sure how long that's gonna take, so.
And Jackie Means.
I'm here. I didn't know what you had looked at, that map, or,
Well, I looked at, I've got these three.
did anybody drove out that way?
Yeah, I took a look at it, I mean, from the road.
I went by it the other day too.
Can you see where the damage is?
I guess what I'm asking is what you're asking for and why. That's,
Okay. I'm asking definitely for access to get up my hill. It was stated in those papers that were written out in the original contract that access would be provided. And I need access to get on the hill as we have over 12,000 trees up there planted, and we need to get up there to check on them. And I don't feel I should have to go out on Highway 9 and go through Goss and go through the city woods to go to my property.
the document that I have, if I've got, don't have something that you have, because Rich and I think we have everything, but we're not sure. Back when that was all done, it said we would replace the existing, the county would have replaced the existing access, which was this road that the county replaced. But I don't see anything in there about the county being responsible for maintaining it.
They have always maintained it before, and I'm not asking to maintain, I'm just asking to get some form of access so I can get up the hill.
That's your decision, that's not,
Because right now, I cannot get up that hill. I try to walk.
I mean, it's a bad situation, but there's a lot of bad situations in the county, and is the county responsible for every bad situation?
Well, and are we also
Yeah.
going to open that creek back up? Because all that rock went into the creek, and now it's all going across my land. And shouldn't the creek be open?
I don't think the county's got any authority whatsoever to do that. I mean, rivers and creeks reroute, and I think if we went back in and did something, we'd be in big trouble with the DNR and the
I would think you need
Corps.
to talk to the DNR and the Corps about that. I don't know,
When are the DNR ever there? My
Well-
husband been out there twice, and there's been nobody.
I mean, it's an unfortunate situation, but is it the county's fault? That's,
I didn't say it's the county's
Okay.
fault right now. I'm asking if they're going to do anything to open that creek at least, or something.
we
so
hadn't
can
planned
get-
on doing anything with that creek because of the flood and what the channel has done. It's cut its own path again. So I don't know if we are able to, allowed to go back and reroute that creek to the way it was without DNR permission or any, this is a natural thing. This is what they call an act of God, that whatever happened, happened and cut, but,
And I said before, I thought it was an act of man before it was ever an act of God.
well, realize too, that when this was done, and this was long before I came here,
Oh, I know that.
but there was an agreement between the property owners that this was okay to do.
They didn't have much choice.
Well, I guess I don't know anything
Yeah,
about
they didn't have
that.
any choice. It was either they sold the land, that part of the, the hillside, or it was gonna be taken from
It's
them.
my understanding it was an endeavor to make things a little bit better.
this was done back in
92,
Yep.
and it's got progressively worse ever since 92.
I'll agree with you, it's
Yeah.
terrible, but I don't know, we've never.
Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
I can't afford to hire somebody to come in and take that rock out. It's already ruined over 600 of my bushes that we had just planted in there, well, over 600, yeah. Right now, I'm lucky if I got 10 down there.
Is there anything,
We're-
have you been able to contact FEMA on any reimbursement or anything like that?
And I tried calling the DNR, and all I got was a recording. Cecil can't say his name right now, and I've got his number home on my refrigerator, but he's the head of the DNR.
But back to FEMA, have you contacted Ray Huffman about,
No, I haven't talked to Ray Huffman.
that is one of the first things I think you should be doing.
Ray had contacted me yesterday on some information on lime kiln, so I gotta contact him back and find out what he's looking for. Because maybe he's working on something with FEMA and lime kiln.
Would it be possible, if they come down there, that they could stop at my home and talk to my husband and me about,
Ray,
yeah,
yeah, I could talk to Ray.
if he comes down that way?
And I don't know, we can get a hold of the Army Corps of Engineers. I think that's who we get a hold of, don't you, Rich?
I'm gonna start with the DNR, I would guess.
Okay. Seems like it's the Army Corps of Engineers when you're talking about waterways and where they run and everything. Anytime you want to put in anything.
Navigable waters down there.
Like I said, I tried to call them, I left them my name and my number, and I haven't heard a thing back, so I don't know if it's because of the holiday coming up or what, but.
Or it's all the flooding in
Or
the
it's all the
state.
flooding, they're gone, yeah. I'm not trying to be a pain in the
I know
neck, but
you're
I
not.
just, I don't know what to do. And like I said, I can't afford to just go down there and do it myself.
And in response, I don't know if we, let's just say the county said, yeah, we'll go and take the rock out, put it back where it was. I don't know if we can even do that. I mean, if it's illegal to do that.
That's what we'll have to find out from the Army Corps and the DNR. They'd moved a lot of rock and cut that new channel there where
Oh,
it's tons and tons and
Yeah,
tons of
it's-
big rock that are in
and
that
that
channel.
hillside is going away more and more all the time because, and it's not the erosion coming, the water coming down off the hill, it's where the water splashed up on the side of the hill and eroded things away and,
Yeah, I
as I
don't,
was told before, well, it's where the water's running down when it rains, no, I've been watching, it's not that, so. Something has to be done or I won't have a hillside at all.
Well, Rich will take a look at it, and
I'll do some
you wanna
digging
come back
with the
next week?
DNR and the Corps and I'll talk with Ray and
I
Ray
would
can come out there.
appreciate it, yes.
And I don't know that we'll have any answers by next week,
Right.
especially with
We'll
this
update.
being, yeah, Rich will give us an update next week, and
Okay,
and we'll
so,
keep at least plugging away to see what we can possibly do or can't do,
Okay.
or,
I couldn't find any documentation in anything in our office either on continuing maintenance or not. So I don't know back in '92 what was agreed upon either verbally or contractually. So I don't have any.
well, a lot of things are said verbally, which never happened anyway.
It's tough when you have a verbal contract and it happens for a long time, but not having that piece of paper is tough.
Did you own the property in '92?
My dad did, and when
Okay.
my parents passed away, they left everything to me, so. That's why I'm out here now, because, like I said, over the years, it kind of was gradually going, and things were getting a little bad, but,
Well, that access, like you say, it keeps slipping away.
A lot of large rock in there right now.
I don't know if those new culverts on 9 are gonna make it better or worse.
I have my doubts.
Maybe doubts it'll make it better, or will it make it worse?
Make it better. Cause I don't know, they're bigger than. what
They're
was there.
bigger than what was there,
How
I
can
think.
they do that? We can't do that.
Maybe they've got a special power or something.
Yeah, probably.
The thing with what they're doing is if they were designed and they've got a different design criteria than when we were first put in, the one thing that it would maybe help with is a steady increase in elevation of water versus a 6-foot wall of water coming down when something gives out.
Yeah,
I mean, you're probably gonna see a gradual increase versus a
that's true.
total surge.
well, I appreciate your time. I may or may not be back to another meeting, I don't know if we find out anything or what, so. But I appreciate if you stop in sometime and let us know what's happening,
I'll let Ray know.
okay?
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jack,
You bet.
let me know what you find out, but I'm just curious whether we can do anything.
Yeah, that's a touchy subject.
Item C, review ATV resolution 850-15.
Okay, back January 8th of 2013, by resolution, you allowed ATVs to ride on the roads, but it sunset automatically after 6 months, which means February, March, April, May, June, July 8th, if you don't do anything, it will once again be against the law to operate ATVs in Mitchell County. The reason we did it that way is if you had problems, you just said, okay, fine, after 6 months, we're done. We don't even have to do anything, it just automatically revokes itself. Well, the same thing's true if you want to continue it, then we need to do another resolution continuing it either indefinitely, permanently, or for 6 months or a year, whatever you want to do.
Well, if we did another resolution permanently and we had problems, we could rescind that resolution.
It's a resolution, it's
Yeah.
easy, you just put it on the agenda, you don't have to have public hearing or anything, you just do it by resolution.
Have you had any problems? I mean,
We have not taken any complaints on
Okay.
ATVs.
Yeah, I have not heard anything, just,
You should probably actually do the resolution today then, and I'll prepare it and get it down here for you to sign, because otherwise before the next meeting, this is going to expire.
okay, I make a motion that we, renew the resolution to allow ATVs for an indefinite period of time. Is that right?
Yep.
And you put the right wording.
Yeah, you'd allow ATV operation under Iowa Code Section 321I, 32120B, and 32123A4. Like that language, Lou?
That's what I thought you said.
Yeah, right on my mind. Just couldn't get it
I'll
out.
just do a new resolution, and I'll get it down here for you to sign. So we've officially done it today, we'll just sign it some other time.
Second. Been moved and second, further discussion. Hearing none, Oaklander.
Aye.
Walk, aye, motion carried. Item D, discuss abandoned bridge at Otranto.
What would you like to discuss?
Basically, the east end of that bridge has issues. Engineer Brum can probably explain those much better than I can, what the issues possibly are. From a layman's point of view, it looks like if this was a perfect situation and it gave way, that bridge could fall into our present bridge under a perfect situation. Chances of right now anything happening probably aren't, but the individual that bought it really didn't buy it for the bridge, he bought it for this other property. He really can't afford to do anything with the bridge. It gets to be, the bridge is on the National Register. Do we decide that maybe a mistake was made back in the 70s, that it shouldn't have been sold for $1? Should we take it back? I mean,
No, that was a good deal to get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking strictly from the county's legal viewpoint, I think they were doing exactly what they were doing when they got rid of that bridge, which was, we're getting rid of a white elephant here. And it may be unfortunate for the people that bought it that they didn't realize what they were getting into, but strictly from a legal viewpoint, they bought it, it's their property. It's no different than if I have a tree on my property that I know is gonna fall on the neighbor's house and I don't do anything about it, I'm liable. And I think it's the same thing. Now, I'm just telling you from the legal end of it. I'm not saying morally, ethically what you should do, but I'm just saying from the legal end of it, it's their property, it's not the county's problem, and if it falls into it, they're responsible.
The existing condition is that there's some scour behind the abutment. The water's still high, you can't tell what's going on underneath as far as the foundations and whatnot. Even if the material seems to wash out from behind the abutment, I'm not sure that's taking away any of the structural integrity of the abutment itself, but they are old limestone abutments. They're showing maybe some signs of deterioration. Hard to tell when you can't get down there to take a closer visual inspection, but if that southeast corner were to fail, would it be a slow failure? Would it be a quick failure? Would it actually roll into the bridge or not? We don't know. Do I want the bridge? No. I mean, it gets put back into our system, and then that being, even if it's a historical bridge, I haven't gotten a complete answer back as to whether we have to have that inspected again, and that's a fracture critical bridge, which means there's a lot more of an inspection done to it than just our normal standard bridge inspections. Becomes our liability again.
Would it be such a thing as the
There-
present owner could salvage that bridge out?
It's their bridge.
I did some calling on the potential of, there are a few things. There are enhancement funds, which I think only can probably be used if, we would have to be the sponsor for the enhancement fund, but then again, it's the owner that would get, have to do the project. There's grants through the Historical Society out of Des Moines to do some things to historic bridges that somebody could follow up on. FEMA, if we know that the scour behind this abutment was from the floods, they could probably apply for some FEMA money to get it fixed. Then the other option was ER funding, but we don't own the bridge, we can't use federal ER funds, emergency response, or emergency funds on something like that. And even to take possession of it now and then use ER funds, I don't think that's it.
I'm just saying, from a legal viewpoint, the county doesn't want the bridge, and the county doesn't want to fix the bridge. I feel bad for the people, but when you buy property, that's what you need to check out. I'm your attorney, not their attorney, so I'm looking out for you, not them, yeah.
Well, then, do these folks that own it now know that if that bridge does fall into our bridge, that they are responsible?
I don't know if they know or not.
Do we need to send them a letter and tell them that?
I can if you want me to.
What do you estimate it would possibly cost, roughest of rough estimates, just to try to do a repair in place on that east end?
Just by looking at it and not getting it close, not getting down there nose of the limestone, but you're gonna look at I don't know if it'd be $5,000, because you gotta get access in there. And not knowing what's down there yet, it's hard to tell. I mean, one could drive sheet piling down there and backfill against the sheet piling, that could keep the water out for quite a while. If the limestone, I don't know how that was constructed, whether they mortared the joints in limestone, I have to assume they did. If some of that's wearing out, you gotta get back in there and, tuck point it, whatever you wanna call it, to get some structure back in there, but, that could even cost more if we have to do that. A quick fix would be to drive some sheet piling and backfill up against it, but is the scour behind the abutment the issue, or is it, to me, it's more of the limestone abutment itself. And you see all the time, you see these abutments in the middle of waterways standing by themselves with nothing on it. It's scoured all the way around. And the reason you backfill it is so you can get a vehicle up on top of it, so.
Here's my concern if we do that. Let's just say we go in and do it.
Do we
Then
take
the- then
liability?
the bridge falls. They're gonna say, hey, you guys were the negligent ones, we trusted you to fix it, you didn't fix it. And they're probably gonna be right, because if we took the responsibility to fix it, and it doesn't fix, we didn't do it right, it's our fault. So that's why I'm concerned with the county going in there and doing anything. It's just a bad situation.
Guess if I was the owner, I'd look for a salvage company. Somebody that wanted some iron. I didn't have the money to fix it. And what's its purpose?
There's one gal I need to contact yet down Des Moines, I think, it's Julie Bowers. She works diligently to try to resurrect these old bridges. I haven't been able to contact her yet, but maybe she can find a buyer for it. I just think, who wants a 170-foot span bridge, and the costs to move it are pretty high versus building your own bridge, but it depends on who's looking for a historic bridge. I mean,
Well, why don't you, you had a few other contacts you mentioned earlier, possibly, why don't you send those all to,
what I should do is maybe FEMA's the best way to go to. If it's flood related, is send Ray over to his place too and have him discuss
yeah,
what could be going on.
and like you say, give him these other contacts and let him look into, because like you say, there may be grants available, there may be, that he can,
Yeah, yeah. I'll do what I can to
and
maybe get them.
definitely if your estimate is probably correct on $5,000 or whatnot, I mean, you know.
Well, figure you gotta mobilize somebody in there, that's never cheap, and then the
No, but
material.
what I'm
you need,
saying
right?
is, if that would, maybe he can get a small grant. that
Well, I
would,
don't know, I don't know, you know, he purchased a property with a bridge on it. I would have to assume that his insurance company is aware of this structure. Does his insurance company have does he have a deductible to fix the bridge? I don't know, you know. I don't know what that falls under. Does it fall under backup water or in your insurance policy or flood damage? Or what?
Usually you have to have those, you know,
Those are-
listed. I can't insure my house and then say, oh, by the way, I had these 2 buildings
Right,
over there that I
right.
tell you about and they burned down.
I don't know what they have for insurance, whether, you know. I've never
Maybe
bought a
it's
bridge
on there.
before.
Maybe it's on there, you know, I doubt it, but maybe it is.
So I'll follow up with the owner and
Yeah, and
maybe
then
see if
next
Ray-
week, and again with this being a holiday week, maybe next week is too soon to give
We'll
us
see what we can
an
get.
update, but is that satisfactory,
Yes.
Supervisor?
Sounds like a good plan.
Okay, we have nothing else on the agenda for you.
Okay? I will take off my county attorney hat then and put on my private citizen hat.
Put your county attorney hat back on, I wanna talk to you a little bit.
Okay.
We'll need to recess.
Okay. I've talked to you a little bit before about this request for a rural improvement zone. Here's the official petition that we're filing today. What it then does is get set for hearing. If it's all right with you, I'll just get it set for hearing on the 16th. Is that right, Lowell? Or not?
2 weeks,
Okay, today's what here?
second,
I
so,
can get it in this week's paper.
so if you need 4 days, you're
Yeah,
all right.
4 and 20, so we can set it
For the 16th. And that's, so really nothing happens today other than we've made our request and now the code says the supervisor set it for hearing. And, if you count, you'll say, oh, wait a minute, there's 12 houses out there, why do you say there's 11 residents? Because the one guy, he's got a house there, but that's not his residence because he resides in Mason City. So it's sitting empty. There's actually 12 houses, but there's 11 residents. And only residents can apply. It's not lot owners, so DMR that owns all the lots out there, they can't, you know, they can't consent, so. And you only need 25% consent to do it, so. So if it's all right with you, I'll just get it set for hearing on the 16th and
What time are you thinking?
9.
2:45, no?
9, yeah. And I've been talking to Barb about it, as both the county attorney and private attorney. And so, if you have any questions on this, you know, you probably should contact an independent attorney, because I've got an obvious conflict of interest. And I said, why I did it was I was gonna have a conflict anyway, because I live out there, so even if I didn't do the work for these guys, I, you know, would have a conflict that way, because obviously it's gonna benefit me in the long run. So,
Do we need a motion to set this for,
Yep, I'll
Yeah,
make a
all right.
motion to set a public hearing on the 357H Rural Improvement Zone for 9 AM on July the 16th. right?
9 AM or 8:45?
Well, I don't care. 8:45? That's
I'll
fine.
get, I'll get
8:45.
I'll get it.
That's what I thought you said.
8:45 a.m.
Yep.
Good. Second. Then moved in second, further discussion. Hearing none, Folklander.
Aye.
Walk, aye, motion carried.
Is Jeff Heil coming today or not?
Around 10 o'clock.
Okay, I'll maybe make it back after that. And you said you want to talk to me about
Yeah.
something? Okay.
Yeah, we'll have a 5-minute recess then. County Engineer Brown, you're up.
I think I got called outside, didn't I? All right, well, let's see. Let's start off by, when all this flooding took place, the DOT needed a detour route, and we foothill up into St. Ansgar and around. We had a verbal, but we never had an official. They just would like the official document signed so I can send it back, and then they'll do all their official documenting of the detour. And then we'll get, what they do is they always, they have the official route, then they reimburse us for the amount of traffic. It ends up being $500 or $600. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but it's their official detour paperwork and
Motion to allow the chair to sign official DOT detour route.
Second. Further discussion. Hearing none, Folklander.
Aye.
Walk, aye, motion carried.
I scraped the resolution together for Jake. Now, I had Mark with me, but he's okay with it, but just keep in mind, it's not enforceable. So if you'd like to, you can do something with this or not do something with it. So we're on, over by Acorn Park, and then St. Ansgar.
Those are coming down that hill,
Well,
or east of that, east of the bridge.
yeah, east of the bridge, I mean, coming down the hill, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to use that type of a system, but it's actually,
I think it
People
starts
live
at the,
beyond-
I think it starts at the bottom of the bridge.
Right,
Or, excuse
so-
me, bottom of the hill and then.
so what I've
go
done is
further
I've
east.
established it 700 feet easterly of the intersection, which puts you about 100 feet east of the big Cedar River Bridge. And it puts it in that zone there, that way they can still use it coming down the hill. But after that, they don't. So I'll leave it up to you guys whether you want to do anything with it or not.
This is a good question, saying that's
No, this is
Private
private resident.
Private residence, but it's more than one.
We've never done it this way before, because in order to be enforceable, you have to have one.
Oh, gee, the city saying that's right, I annexed that, yeah, make an ordinance.
Yeah, they can have, it, they can have that bridge.
Yeah, there you go.
What else can we
Kill
do
two
with?
birds with one stone there.
So I'll leave it up to you guys if you guys want to do anything with it today or wait, whatever.
I think we'd have to do it next week.
That's
if
fine,
not.
that's fine. I'll leave it up to you guys to hold on to.
Yeah, we'll put it on the agenda for next week. As long as we don't have it listed here.
Right.
So.
That's fine. We are patching Porter Road, which is Walnut Avenue, south of 9. It goes to the New Haven Blacktop. Blacktop is kind of blowing up pretty good. That's the one we got slated for a letting this winter.
Down to,
So,
okay.
the one we pulled out 2 years ago to pay for the county.
How are those bubble patches holding up?
Pretty good.
That's what I thought. Bubble patch the whole main road.
Bubble patch. Well, it's the edges that's the problem. It's not in the middle. They're working on that this week. We had a blow up on the criminals, like I kind of mentioned, we were seeing an indication of it, and I went out there with the foreman, we tried to alleviate the pressures, and were unsuccessful. Trying to solve the problem before it got worse, and it didn't work. We were trying to saw the joint wider, to relieve the pressure, to bring it back down. And we both looked at each other thinking we should probably get a wedge in this joint just before we cut too far. saw us stop on a dime, and we couldn't get that roof out, so. And I don't think we would've had a wide enough joint saw it in there for relief, because on Sunday it heaved up to 6 inches. And so we sent a couple guys out on Sunday to take the panels out. Same thing, moisture.
Same
and
place?
Same road, but not the same place. Just another, this is really, really weird on this. Why is it one road? Why is it there? You know, why are we seeing the delamination of the asphalt? So I had them get me a sample of water that was in there. I know what kind of rain, so it's probably diluted, but I wanna know if there's chlorides in there or not. And so I was gonna do the cheap test and get a pool chloride test kit to see if there's a lot of chloride in the water. Why is it moving? What's causing it to move that much? And why is it just that road?
It's the asphalt in the hole that's causing it.
Everything, the concrete's bonded to the asphalt. It's the asphalt bonded itself. So, it's an ongoing thing, and what I've narrowed it down to is, it usually happens in the spring, early summer, after we've had a decent amount of rain, and then we get heat. So, and it's anywhere between 80 and 90 degrees when it happens after rain. When it's dry, we never have it. So, we'll narrow it down. But anyway, that's here or there. That's something we had to take care of. Got a lot of guys on vacation this week, obviously, and Friday, everybody was gone. They must take that Friday off. So there's really nobody gonna be around in either the office or the Securities meetings. So we'll have our phones on, of course. depending on what happens.
It's supposed to be nice.
You can run an order grader in an emergency, can't you?
I can give it the old college try. So, other than the Otranto Bridge discussion and the Reeves discussion, we're out mowing, we're doing the best we can on the mowing. When you called me yesterday, I think he had a little speed issue, I think he may be going a little too fast. He was using the old mower, and you can't go 5 miles an hour, you gotta go around 3 or 4, and that makes a difference.
Okay, because, yeah.
I drove there, I was down there, and I looked at it, and
it looks crappy for being mowed, I mean,
it looks like a bald guy waking up in the morning and some of the hair sticks up and some of it doesn't. I know what that's like, so. So anyway,
Bad hair.
yeah, bad hair. So we'll probably be starting the rock run after next week, depending where we're at. We still got to get final designs on these culverts that washed out. Jim's finally getting time to get some survey for me. We got to get our roadway painting program going again. I wanted to wait till we got shoulders brought back up, which would have been done a long time ago had we not flooded, but I want to get some paint on these roads too, so. And we'll probably do a joint quote with work on that we always have. Seems to get better numbers. I did ask folks to give us a trucking quote too in case we needed help on the rock run. Got a lot of guys that have time off, and if we want to make it, we don't want to be waiting on trucks either, so we may or may not use them, just that we have a number is good enough, so. Anything for me?
seemed like I had something and I just lost it.
How's the weed commissioner working out?
Good. He's been out spraying.
Is it?
Yeah, I stopped to try to herd a cow in south of Haven, it was. No, yeah. And he was out spraying, he tried to help. There was a cow on the road. So, it just happened to be he was
What kind of a cow?
Would have been tasty,
You know, one of those guys.
one of those kinds, so yeah, he's out spraying.
Yeah. I just wondered if there was, I have not seen much for weeds in the ditch. I don't know about you guys, but.
I seen some thistles, but it was on the state road now.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll probably be out mowing real soon, I think they're staying with that private. They have mowed some stretches of road, but it seems like they haven't done much for paint, whole stages last year yet.
I seen it around the avenue about a week or so ago, you know, and that's, heck, they're trying to mow and grass that deep.
Oh, so are we.
Yeah.
It's a tough task when it's,
Oh, how many roads are closed yet?
haven't changed, still the same. Well, we kind of got Primrose opened up south of Stacyville. We put guess you wanna call it a low water crossing, the farmer needed to get into his field, so we put a couple of, where we had the 17-foot span arch pipe, we put a couple 48-inch pipe in and dropped the road down and put a big rock in there just so we could get to the field, and if it floods, it's gonna go over the road, but, it's also got that pony truss bridge at the other end that's got a weight limit of 5 tons or whatever, so, cars can get around, we still kept barricades up so people don't use it as the throughway, but it's passable, it's just, until I get the final designs on that stuff, we need to get it in there, so. We put some money in, so I mean, my days are being spent when I'm not getting called out, putting the FEMA and FHWA stuff together for funding.
How we doing on that big culvert and that on Hickory, by the truck street?
That gets let next week. No, the 16th, I think that's in May, so. Oh, not the bridge, but the culvert. We
Yep.
sent quotes out for that culvert and, what was the other one? No, it was just that culvert. We sent a quote out for a contractor to either salvage what was there or we'll need to get new. So we're waiting for that. They'll bring that stuff back and I think that's coming back in 2 weeks, I think. So, to get that.
Okay, the bridge letting then you mentioned.
The bridge letting, that's,
So when can they start building that bridge? And
they have a start date of, I think they have a late start date sometime in September. But they've got, I'd have to look back at the documents again, I thought it was 50 working days. They got it staged that it's done this year, it's done before winter. So that's the way the working days worked out, because that's what I requested, that it gets done.
Because, same thing again, the farmer needs to get in the field, so
Yep.
they're gonna have to have either that other
Yep,
culvert. in
that other
place.
culvert will be in before that. We wanted the culvert south of their end, so they can work on either side of that bridge.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's the intent there. So that'll
Because
be.
Randy will be calling me.
I've already had a call from him, and
Not this Randy.
we had we had closed that bridge up because we were scouring the back wall and he needed to get an sprayer, so we had it pulled back up and it sucked the dirt, or sucked the rock back out again, so.
Okay,
He did call and we squared him away, so.
all right, anything else for county engineer Brown?
Anything?
Just keep your cell phone on this week, as long as everybody else is gone.
I'll have it on vibrate, so. It'll be on.
In the
Have a good week.
environment.
Yeah, you do. Approve the minutes,
2 sets.
2 sets.
Yeah, make
They
a
read
mo-
them?
Yep, I did too. I'd make a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
Been moved, I'll second. Further discussion? Hearing none, Volkmander.
Aye.
What? Aye, motion carried. Fireworks permits.
Got 3 of them today. We have Brian and Tara Morick. Harmony Drive, St. Ansgar, on the 5th of July. We have Alan Anhorn on 1889 385th Street, Mitchell, July 6th. And Rob Lofton is gonna shoot on property owned by Larry Johnson, 3573 Indigo, on the 6th.
And all paperwork's in
Our
order?
paperwork's in order.
Make a motion to approve the fireworks permits for the individuals read.
Second. Further discussion? Hearing none, Volkmander.
Aye.
Block, aye, motion carried. Okay, let's see. We're down to items to note, meetings attended.
CSS meeting last Wednesday in Alcaire. That was a 2-hour meeting. This is our normal. Approve service providers and approve payments of 21 counties through Butler County. We discuss a lot of different things. Seems to be now that we're getting more requests from your mental health institutes and your different providers for grants of money from the county social services. which we did not act on yet, because we really don't have a criteria to approve grants for folks. I don't know how we're gonna do that. I guess it's not, you know, we're a fairly new group. You know, haven't been 21 counties yet for a year. We don't know where, well, our ending fund balance is roughly, you know, 6.5 to 7 point whatever $1 million this year. We don't, not quite sure how that's gonna look going forward with the new Affordable Care Act and stuff, so. There was a lot of discussion. I know a gal from North Iowa Mental Health Center was there. Seems to be some problem with getting minutes from the mental health clinic, and so because of that, they denied a request for funds to remodel a room for, you know, well, they wanna, it's for children. And they did, and the previous month I was not able to be there. And they denied it also at that time too, because this hasn't been resolved yet, and felt bad for the lady that came. I mean, she had nothing to do with it, but kinda told her after the meeting, come back next month. One of the problems I'm seeing with the group, it's 21 supervisors, they all are thinking they're saving money if we deny everything. Well, then the one wanted to, well, you know, they don't like, some of them didn't like the idea of sending their fund balances to Butler County to, because they're the fiscal agent for the county social services, because we could, you know, we've got some bridges we need to get fixed. Well, what they don't understand, I guess he doesn't understand, is that mental health money you can't use on bridges. You know, I mean, so, anyway, it's interesting, and I hopefully going forward, you know, told Bob, I says next time we'll have to bring a whip and chair, because these people are getting out of hand. But there's a certain few that think that, you know, how things work, but other than that, it's going along pretty good, I think, and people are being served, and we just need to get around the idea of, you know, what we can fund and what we can't.
I had second judicial, and our director resigned. Actually, she got a promotion within the Department of Corrections, and she's gonna be the assistant director of the statewide. Nice lady, and so we have an opening there. And the other thing is the budget. Again, we basically held things, again, status quo. Governor doesn't seem to want to put additional monies into corrections neither. I mean, you've got 2014 expenses trying to operate on about a 2000 fiscal year budget is about what it boils down to. But by not filling some positions right away and so on and so forth, you're able to get by. But again, it really does leave some, it leaves some terrible gaps. I mean, people, after a while, I mean, how thin can you spread your employees and really get the job done that needs to be done? And this is, I think, one of our bigger concerns, that at some point in time, the governor's gonna have to start doing some realistic budgeting. I mean, that his $110 million worth of veto cuts again, some of those I just had to shake my head at. So,
Exactly.
that was my meeting. And that's basically just waiting now for Jeff, right?
Mhm.
Okay, we'll take a recess until Jeff comes, probably 10 o'clock, and we'll wait for County Attorney Walk, and we'll go through financing. Well, basically, we had notice again from your company that the bond market is just really kind of going wild.
Yeah, the last
wanna
3 to 4 weeks has been,
get an update on what you think, what projections you kind of feel are realistic, you know, and what we should be looking at.
well, particularly on a project like this, yeah, you wanna look at the interest rate, but is, when are you needing funds? That's what we've talked about all along on this Valent is phase 2 is knowing when we've got really some final construction bids, knowing, sure, there's change orders, but once you got your final construction bids, and that takes another year to complete after that, then you got a pretty good idea to come in and lock in that last piece. And that's what we were waiting for all along, is you don't wanna come in and, well, you can, we could do some temporary financing like we did again, but your permanent ones, we wanna try to keep it to two financings. If you have to split into 3, you know, there's extra costs involved with that. Interest rates, they, what did I do? 15, you know, where we were, you know, a 20-year is right now around 3.76, which is probably a full 1.25%, 1.5. Rates are about 1.5% higher. Just got some other material from a lot of bond traders around the world. I mean, they think this is a good time to get in because it's been so disastrous, you know, the bond end. A lot of economic indicators. It already did back off from, you know, just the end of last week and early this week. We had bond sales coming back again, and probably 0.25% lower than what they were a week ago at this time. And you know, from things I read and what I think we should back off some more, quite a bit, you know, another 0.5% or more from here in the next 16 weeks. That originally goes back to when we put all this planning into here, phase 2, getting bids and construction bids. I always anticipated you'd be needing money September, October. You know, and then we had this discussion here a month or 2 ago about December or next spring, and I go, gee, that just doesn't, knowing where you're at on some cash flow, I questioned that comment when we had a conference call with the other designers and Brendan.
I might be able to hold out 4 months,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with what I have today, depending on when these new construction bills come in.
So, I guess with that in mind, get a little firmer what they believe the costs are. Somewhere in the next couple months, I think if we get a break off and to be ready, I think it might be wise to go on it. But I think we want to be ready and look for a dip in it, you know, because we've had a bleep up. You know, it's probably not going to go back to the lows, but let's try to capitalize and be ready on a break.
So you're basically saying that if it looks like there's a break, what we maybe should be doing for the courthouse?
Well, I'm talking really Valent right now.
Oh, okay, all right,
On the Valent.
okay, unbalanced, all right.
That's
And it's
not
so
the courthouse. You know, you've got to wait for an election for that. You know?
Okay.
So I mean, we know we have to borrow money for the Valent. You know, it's just when. You know, that I question the waiting December or March. If you can get that far.
I don't think so.
If we know that we have to do that part of it, let's get the heads together and say, hey, what is our roughly estimating dollars there and be ready to do that on a break. That's,
Where are we probably, Joel, with the Valent project on doing the,
Doing what?
with what we as a county have to do? I mean,
Well,
the next,
pretreatment's gonna take off here, that's Tom alluded to this morning. We've only borrowed how many?
8 million.
8 million, so we need to borrow another, what, 12.75 now, or there's more than that? Yeah, I think it's closer to 14 million.
Yeah, I think so.
I think
So
we're
I
looking
got
at
4
another,
million,
With
six-
either side is $6 million.
Yeah.
And-
Right, and then-
And we have we let all the construction bids yet?
I think so.
I think they're all
I think
let.
so, too.
Yeah, they're gonna start the wastewater treatment, and they're starting the pre-treatment building, and then the equipment, and
So they're all let, it's just, you know, the steps of when they're kicking in doing the construction. So we,
It's on like
other than,
this month.
yeah.
other than change orders, and
But going into the fall, aren't they historically lower interest rates going into the fall than through the spring and summer?
the last 3 years have all acted very similar. This year just moved a little later and a little more strong. In a
And
larger
going-
move, but we generally have low rates, you know, January, February, March, right after the year. And then they went up in April, May, and then back down in August, September, October, and then just sort of held.
The other thing is, if the Fed holds true to what they alluded to, and they decide to not buy as many bonds, what do you see happening then? Well, I see.
The whole underlying economy, there's two sides to the
And all
other.
they have to do is indicate that.
They do it indicated, yeah, and already the buyer's bonds, and that's what happened the last 3 weeks. They
Right.
all got scared, particular on long bonds, you know, after 15 years. And,
And we're looking at 20 years on these.
yeah, the 20-year, see, then the 15-year is, you can see the difference between the 15 and the 20. 376 down to a 260 on a 15-year, and then we're on a 10-year, we're down in just a little 2.25. So the longer the bonds, that's where they're hesitant. But
But see, then the other thing too is they have to really understand, and I don't know who's gonna tell them, but, you know, longer you wait, the more it costs to borrow. And they're,
compared to what we originally, you know, when we first started this, we're still below
we're right
what
in-
we really originally, gosh, 2 years ago.
Yep.
So we're in the market.
Okay.
If we break off here, say 0.5% here, I think it'd be a good time to finish off the Valent.
Then we'll, at least everybody will know where they are.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can watch that and then let us know when that happens.
Because we've had the hearing, well, we're gonna have to do another hearing because we're over cost. So we are gonna have to do another hearing, so I think it'd probably be wise for us to, you know, in the next month or so, get that extra hearing, say how much do we need for it, and do that, get it out of the way, and then watch it here, and say we did it, either side, it's the 1st September, still takes 30 days after that, we're gonna be in October before you get money, so whether it's October, November, I think you're gonna be needing money by then. Or it's gonna be tight.
Well, if I know what's coming, we can tell them, you know, we can pay this much, but when the rest comes in, we'll pay the rest, you know. I mean, they gotta work with us too, since the cost went up too, so.
So,
Jeff, I just have a question for you. This probably isn't possible, but I'm gonna ask anyway. Is it possible that you can say, okay, you're borrowing 14 million. We're gonna amortize that over 20 years, but we're only gonna bond for 10. And then at the end of 10, we're gonna balloon it. Can you do stuff like that or not?
you
Okay.
can.
It's just that whoever is borrowing has to realize that in 10 years, the interest rates may be 6.
Well, that's it, you know. In
Yeah.
government,
But I mean,
we
it's,
do it more like on subsidized housing units where, you know, in order to get low-income housing, we work that a lot to keep the rents down. Once we go into infrastructure, roads, courthouses, jails, the public really wants to know what their tax rate, what that product, that is all the way to the end.
Yeah.
If we do that in that, there's
Yeah.
some risk.
but I mean, we could say to Valent, hey, we can go 10 years at 2.5. I'm just making up a number. Or we can go 20 years at 3.75. You know, you make the call. And
Well, if
but
it's-
knowing full well that it's gonna balloon it, since we've got payment in lieu of taxes, so we're gonna get paid no matter what. It'd be them really taking the risk. Now, they're probably not interested, you know, it's still 3.75, it's still real low.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have much risk, maybe it goes down 1%, maybe it goes up 5. I mean, but
As many problems as we've had with them on some other things, I don't know that we'd want to even,
okay.
just because over in Japan, they seem to have not a good handle on how we as Americans operate.
Okay.
If I'm kind of reading right, what you're more familiar though with than I am on it.
Right. I think everybody wants to know what it costs.
It is, and especially, it's a special assessment that they're gonna be tied to X amount till it's paid off. Here's what their costs are, and once their tip revenue comes in. If he's working on a hospital deal or housing,
I just wondered if it was even- I just wondered if that was
Oh,
even
it is.
possible.
Yes, absolutely. It is, but when we go to property tax or special assessment, yeah, most people want to know all the way through the whole thing and leave that risk out.
Okay.
And if we were looking at, it just seems, you know, I quote 375. Now, 5 years ago, you go, hey, you know, we were doing 4 1/4 bonds. You go, if I'd say 375 then, you go, wow. It's just, we were in a flip environment for the last year and a half that, you know, saying 2.5% bonds on a 20-year. So,
I remember 18% interest.
yeah.
Well, here's another question then. We had over $1 million worth of flood damage to our roads. And we are not 100% sure that we're gonna get monies from FEMA. I would think we are, but yet again, I mean, there's no guarantees right now. And yet again, we have to fix our roads and so on. If we added $1 million to this whatever, and of course, it's a bookkeeping thing, Valent would owe so much, you know, and then the other $1 million.
We'd split out separate schedules for that.
Yes,
I mean, do one total, then you.
do one total, whatever, yeah. But that could be a possibility that we may,
Well, the thing is, you know, on
I'd
that,
rather do the bond than do borrowing at the bank.
well, the thing is, say you did $1 million for a road, then we kick it back to the wind tip,
Right,
where we're gonna have, I mean, we're gonna, in 2023, which is less than 10 years out, you know, we're gonna have over $1 million available payment. And so, I mean, all of a sudden, you could have a smaller payment on that, and kick that off, and be a 10-year bond, and the 12-year, you pay it off. And that's when we sort of talked about, I guess I brought up, is leaving that cushion on that wind tip for emergency situations like that. So we wouldn't have to do a 15 or 20-year bond on that, and we would still have. But let's just assume the other side of it, if the courthouse passes in November. We get another 6 million on the other side, around 6 million. To get-
Six, what we've done on that, excuse me, but what we've done on that is we've given them a top that we do not want to go over. And basically, I think it was what, 6.7? Right in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And ballpark. And of that 6.7, almost 700,000 is contingencies that they feel will not kick in, but yet again. So, but yeah, we've absolutely said we do not want to go over this dollar amount. So,
Well, the point being is if you remember our discussion for bank qualified debt, you can only do $10 million a calendar year, which, so I think that's another reason why we want to do the Valent project sometime now in the next 3 months is to use our $10 million limit in that calendar. Then if the jail would pass, or the courthouse pass, then you're moving that portion into the 2014 calendar. That's an IRS regulation. You can still borrow more than that, but banks get a double taxation break with bank qualified, Iowa banks. So you're basically saving about 1/4% interest if we do bank qualified. It's just a lot of, you go well over 10 million, but it's about 1/4% higher rate if we can keep it under 10 million in a calendar year. So that's why I think, just planning-wise, if we would get a break on Valent, or I mean, interest now, get the Valent done, and, assuming you're doing a positive roll on the courthouse and it passes, then we move that into a 2014 finance
It's on calendar year, fiscal year.
calendar. And then that still leaves room if you want to do the $1 million either or. Whether you need that money right away this fall, or does that work around throwing away with the courthouse or the Valent? It doesn't matter which one you do. Put it in. So I mean, I think you get 2 or 3 points wise, your cash flow, you don't want to get it down so far.
So I should
And
talk
the
to
bank
Kathy,
qualification. And
talk
the
to
rates,
Kathy and get,
and say, hey, okay, now we've had all the construction bids in,
we didn't know.
everything change order here, what's it gonna take to finish off the project? Because part of that funds, we originally had, I think, was it for some conservation, that we originally borrowed phase 1 for. Well, we didn't use all that for that, I take it. So, we just have to figure out of all of that first phase, what that went to with the cost overruns. Then we need to hold a hearing. And we want to hold a cushion on that, get a cushion, get the hearing out of the way. So the sooner we get the hearing out of the way, that way we can just monitor when we go week to week. Then we'll have to update the rating on it, which won't take long because we just had it. And we can get those things out of the way and then just be ready.
So we need to set a public hearing? Or you-
Well,
Couple weeks.
I'll talk, yeah, Daniel's, I think, gonna be leaving after, he'll be gone for a week and a half. So then as soon as he gets back from that, I'll get stuff in there. But in the meantime, we need to get Kathy and say, okay, what do we need to, on top of what we already held a hearing? And whether John's gonna want to do a whole new hearing for the bond amount or just do the addition. Sometimes he doesn't need it all. Sometimes it's nice to get the new hearing to match it, or if we've already got an excess of about 4 or 5 million, we only need to add 2 more for a hearing. I'll talk with him and get that ready. So then, at your meeting here at the middle end of July, we can set a hearing hold. first of all, this range.
Well, then some bills come in early on, we show up to borrowing if we had to. Rather than, tell them to wait. And the contractor would review that.
Depends on how fast they come in, with both them being built now, they're gonna kick in.
Maybe you should probably send you a bill every month.
We just got a pay request today.
Which one's this?
On the Valent. With American Construction.
Oh, final one? Yeah.
Pay certificate.
Yeah.
And there'll still be retainage though. That may be 2,000. It's my back to the office.
It's under 100.
Yeah.
$19,000.
Almost.
Yeah, so I'll get ahold of her, and when I find out more, I'll email you, and she sends me then,
Mm-hmm.
so that we both know how much is just gonna be the this week.
And we need to look at that original hearing notice, because we combine that with that conservation and a couple other things. We need to break that out and we do a hearing on that part. Up and down something. Might be clean those to do the whole hearing. And hopefully we see a break.
If we don't, we're just stuck.
Well, like I say, they're not terrible rates yet.
Right, they're not
They're
skyrocketing.
But it does affect, as we look at the cash flow numbers that we put on the courthouse. Did you put any projections in that flyer on levy rates or anything like that?
Just illustration purposes, 6.5 million.
Mhm. So I should think it would
Did
probably.
you want to read it over before we click press? There's, this isn't quite right. This just starts here. But this is page 6, it's really page 5, there's nothing on page 5. So it continues for somewhere. So we've got to do something missing. Right?
I don't know, I'm ready.
Well, it's page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this just kind of starts out with another sentence.
Okay.
But there's nothing on page 5 that it came from, so,
That's where it's coming from.
yeah.
This is-
Page 5 doesn't have it, so it takes based on, yeah. So it's 1, 2,
So this should.
yeah, that makes some sense. But then, when you get to page 6, it just comes from somewhere, but there's nowhere that it's coming from.
You should have continuing on page 1, continuing on page 2.
Right, but then page 6, it just starts in the middle.
He needs a second.
There's either something missing or.
Did you run about ethics and everything down the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, they said they've never seen such an ethical county in their life, but we have.
I didn't see you writing that down.
I gotta see it in writing.
Those words, that words.
Give me the paper where it says it, and I'll quote it.
Dig it up, Stan.
Oh, what else we wanted to cover today?
Well, I think that basically kind of gives us a blueprint then of where to go. From the last of this month, we should be looking at setting a public hearing. And in the meantime, you'll be getting your, and,
The rates, I just looked back when I ran it, you know, on the courthouse at the low versus rates today. It's about $50,000 higher annually, just on interest. So it adds up. One and a half
well, the one thing about,
So where's it gonna be next year?
percent.
Got a crystal ball down there, that one?
one thing about the courthouse thing is, I mean, we should be able to do that at 15 years with our TIF and our.
Well, yeah, the cash flow.
Yeah. So, I mean, that, we shouldn't have to look at a 20 year.
In 10 years.
Could.
That'd get you a whole lot better rate, right?
Yeah, but it still comes down to cash flow. I mean, you can
You
only go so
talking about
short.
TIF, and what, 17, 18?
But you've already talked about throwing in possibly $1 million for this roads.
Those roads are fine.
Okay, well, if you don't need, what other emergency, if you do not, if you wanna use all of that right up there and not leave any cushion, absolutely, we could go.
Well, the other roads will be paid off.
So, yeah, no, you
But
could,
really
you
for
could go
Valent,
shorter.
but really for Valent, we're just gonna be a pass-through. I mean, there's
Oh,
no
yeah.
reason to,
Yeah, but the way they squeal every time they get a bill, I mean.
yeah, but I mean, there's no reason to try to shorten it,
No, the courthouse,
oh,
or the courthouse to shorten it. You use more of the local option in the TIF,
Right.
and you could shorten that up and pay that off.
Paid off in
I think,
2-3
when I
years.
run it, I think I ran it. I
well,
think 10 years was possible to pay it off, using
but aren't
it.
we really better off again to go 15 and then that, and I mean, if we,
You could refinance it.
I mean, we can either,
Call them.
yeah, it could be,
There.
Put the money aside, pay them off if you want,
paid off if we
or
have.
call the last 5 years anyway.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Then you'd save that interest, right?
But to lock, you know,
Yeah.
if we take our projections.
Yeah, I don't wanna tie the money up.
Well, the other thing is, it's no different when we did projections, 3-4 years ago. We go off the estimated levy rates where they're at now. Department of Revenue changes those. And we gotta start calculating how this new property tax bill is gonna affect, the 80% on the commercial.
Well, they're backfilling them, so
Yeah.
we're fine.
So that's the reason, as far as to go right down to all the maximum cash flow now and shorten up 3 or 4 years, it's like, I'd rather see you have some years cushion for all of those unknowns that the state's gonna throw at you.
You never know when you're gonna have another disaster, flood, tornadoes.
Or that goes when the roads get done, we still have the roads that need attention, and bridges and. Pretty much probably gonna get all tore up and everything. It's an interesting road, but. Well, sooner we get Valent done, I guess that'd be the best.
Just be prepared, let's get prepared for it, we'll get the hearings, we'll get the grading redone. And sit and monitor it.
Next time somebody says, just want you to be the pass-through, say, if it's so simple, you do it. We're not gonna be your pass through.
You've been adding a little to that, haven't you? Getting your time.
Now that you've done it once, you should have all your notes, it'll be simple.
But it takes money. They want to treat us as a bank, and we are not. Let them do their own projects,
Problem is that we live in Brazil.
you know?
Yeah, that's.
Let Brazil have the headaches.
Sounds like they have had things down there.
I mean, people can only stand so much.
There's no
No, there can't be.
Comes at 4:30.
There's no, yeah, but no sense making it any worse.
Well, it'd be a lot harder if we didn't have tip, you know.
So basically, come our bond hearing, we should have possibly, let's say, maybe put that $1 million in for roads or whatever, 1,000,001, and we don't have to bond for it. I mean, if there's something else, just because,
Do you wanna do a hearing for $1 million on roads?
well, we have
Well, like you
a,
said before, you could put it in a
Well, you put the
hearing, it
hearing
doesn't mean you're
notice,
gonna.
that doesn't mean you're gonna borrow, but I mean,
That's
yeah,
what I mean.
do
That's
you
what-
wanna have the hearing notices, have both of those in there?
I almost think we do,
Would
because,
be, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because if FEMA comes through, then we don't need it.
yeah. And if they don't, why, we've got to fix these.
Parts of roads missing.
Well, they'll be two separate. We'll be using two separate, so we'll have, we might have to have two separate notices.
Because
Well, we
one's
can
for
provide-
Valent,
Yeah.
one's for-
So, $1 million, is that what you want for not to exceed on roads?
Yes.
I'd go 1,500,000, because they were already talking 1,000,001 right off the get-go. And they say, if we don't need it, we don't use
He
it.
gave away all his pens.
Get all my good ones, work. Calendar here, let's see. Maybe shoot July 23rd to second hearing. And then we'll have it. Yeah. 13th, 16th, is anybody, now we get two, is either the 16th, 23rd meeting, anybody gone?
Can't be.
Well, okay, either one of those days we can set, and then we'll either set it for, try to shoot for August 6th. Any dates out of,
Okay, here it is. It's in the yellow, that goes to page 6. I mean, that, right, have to just put a thing,
Yeah.
continue on page 6.
Yeah.
Put a little header there, so you know what you're looking for.
Continue to page 6, continue from page 1.
Yep.
Yep.
and then you'll contact Kathy to
See how much we need.
see what the total is, what our original hearing was.
Because I'd like to know how much this is total gonna be, and then figure from that, you know, what we need to borrow yet.
And there we'll probably, whatever that number is, just for hearing purposes, we'll probably assign that as $500,000.
When that
Hearing
covers
notices.
administration costs.
Then when they're, as we watch the market, we should get exactly what we need.
I don't know what it costs us to take that hill on the power system.
That's a little different.
Pull the top down, stretch it out. don't know.
I mean, it's like, where do you draw the line? What's that?
You said that already.
Yeah. That's just
Just
the change.
I was thinking it was later back then.
I think it was okay with that. It's like, you sell us the property, we'll put you in the deal.
I don't know, I mean, I was, this is some little minute. But,
Anything else for Mr. Heil?
That's it.
Did you have to practice changing diapers first, or do they just let you go from memory on?
I've learned that many times. Yep.
What's that?
Those 2 deeds for Rage didn't get recorded. Also, Jason was.
So is there any dates that you, either of you's gone this summer?
Not anymore.
So, 2008, should have had some.
not that I know
I mean, I don't want to set some dates
No.
that you know ahead of time.
Yeah, nothing.
At least 16 or 22 or 23, yeah. And if we have to, if there's such a thing that comes up,
All right, I'll get ahold of it.
And on this, do we want to have the fair booth first and then go around to the various towns after the fair booth? That probably solve a lot of problems. So we won't do anything in July, we'll wait until.
You have no money to make out.
Yeah, you're gonna be here for 5 minutes, aren't you? I just gotta call them up.
Yeah, email.
They don't print off real well. I'll give them this one. Let me make.
I mean, if you just email it to me, and I want to see if there's
It's going to print here shortly.
anything. Let me read it real quick.
Anything else for the good of the cause?
we did everything.
Okay, we will.
Well,
send
you already got under 2% interest.
Yeah, that's wrong. I don't know what you're gonna do with that.
Well, I mean, it doesn't say anything, but that's.
Based on.
Mhm.
2%. So did you adjourn?
Yeah,
We're adjourned.
yep. I'm sorry.
I gotta run.
Thanks for dropping by.
Yes.
Is this what's going, that the Dan Evans printing is gonna do? No answer. Oh, it's low.
Yeah, I believe that's what's going in the Riceville.
I was wondering why it went out to, out of the county for paper.
Oh, it's going.
Mostly, yeah.
Oh, what are we bonded for totally now?
I mean, you do
I'm not sure
sure.
offhand.
Would you find out?
Okay.
Give me a call.
Okay.
Somebody asked me, I don't know.
Okay.
You stayed at 63 cents. And you quote 2% times.
That was,
You quote them here, you quote them here, you quote them there, and they're estimates.
it was as of May 41st.
That's right.
I got to speak about the hospital.
And these were all, these were what they were meant.
This afternoon, I better go home.
Yeah.
And they made